bonjour, and here we are again for my favourite day of the week, New Comic Book Day. And again, there is a sensible crop of new titles. Some I've done before, some I haven't. A couple of first issues here. Going to do a deep dive on. There's 5. I've got 5 that we're going to have a little look at, as always. At the art, the glorious artwork on some of them, and 5 just other recommendations. Let's get right onto it. But before I do, as always, thank you to everyone who continues to grow my channel. I really do appreciate it. You know I do. And you know I love you lot. You sexy subscribers. You know you're the ones I love the most. Nearly as much though. Or no, I suppose on the same level. I don't know. Should I be measuring you all against anything? No, I shouldn't really. What I was going to say was, you all know how much I love the comments and getting into stuff. So please continue to do so. Really does help when you can chat. Comic collecting can be a lonely hobby now, can't it? So let's all link up and talk about it. And first up this week is one of the Night Terrors books, Zatanna. This for me is the best one out of all the Night Terrors books. And good old Alex over at Comics and Fantasy, hi mate, he agrees. So far, this has been the best one. Issue 2 didn't let me down. This one, so his partner in crime, Paul, is a big fan. Hi to you as well, Paul. Over at Comics and Fantasy in Hornchurch in Essex, where I get all my stuff, my weekly stuff from. This was a good read. I'm not going to deny that the cover was absolutely sensational and drew my eye straight away. You can bet your life that's in the running for comic cover of the week this week. This continues to be a nice. A fresh take on the Guardians. Just enough. All the characters are there. Just enough of a fresh take on their interactions and the members of the gang, because obviously they have changed over the years, and it's very it's kind of in the vibe of the films, character-wise, a bit, but enough to separate it, if you know what I mean. There was just some. Anyway, we'll get into it. I'll stop waffling. This was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun, and you know how much I love the Star Wars books. Or a lot of them I love anyway. They're not all fantastic by any means, the same as anything, but generally those Star Wars books are well worth a go. If you like Vader. My old mate Taters likes the Mandalorian one, but that is just the straight. It's really weird that they've done the Mandalorian as a straight adaptation of the TV show, the Mandalorian comic. I don't get that. I don't get it. It's not like there's a licensing problem, is there? Because they own Lucasfilm and Marvel Comics. So, and this is my book of the week. J. Michael Straczynski is back. If you don't know the name, you're going to have to Google it, because he's been pretty prolific. I mean, the first time I come across him is as the creator of Babylon 5 back in the day. But he has done plenty of comic work. And this is a nice take. If you've read The Ambassadors, which is a nice modern, fresh look at superheroes without deconstructing them again, because you've got Mark Millar to do that. And I love the Mark Millar books. I recommend them. But there is only so far you can keep going with the deconstruction. But he seems to still make it work. But I think that's his thing now. And I think everyone's kind of doing a more traditional take, or keeping to the more traditional take on superheroes, without deconstructing them and grounding them. Yeah. But anyway, that's a good book. That's my book of the week. He also runs that I won't be doing a deep dive, but just a little mention. This was another great Night Terrors book issue 2 of the continuing, or is it 3? 3 of the main story. So this is like your main book, Dead Man, who's inside Batman. Robin's in this issue as well, and again, lovely cover. And overall, I'm really enjoying the way that they are taught. They've linked all these stories, but you don't need to. I'm really dipping in and out. Like my old mate Alex, he's getting every single one, that's fine. If this was Marvel, I'd probably be doing the same. But the bit I'm really enjoying is the fact that I don't have to get every single book, and I'm still enjoying it. So maybe half a dozen, 8 out of the, because there is a lot of books over a lot. It's a good 3 or 4 months they're rolling this out. It's a lot of comics. I think that's a major plus for them. Full marks for producing it in that way, creating it so that you're not annoyed. Because come on, we haven't all got all the money in the world to buy all of the, I know, yeah, he says, buying 16, 14, yes, Paul. Anyway, I'll move on. I like the Gun Honey stuff. Heat Seekers number 2, in the same vein. Just pulpy. There was just too many boobs inside this comic for me to do a deep dive on. I want to keep a good track record with YouTube, and fingers crossed I've got a good one. And I do not want to spoil it. Now, if that hasn't intrigued you enough, there are boobs aplenty in that. I bet there's a variant cover knocking about as well for that. That Paul will no doubt let me have a look at next time I'm in the shop. Kaya continues to impress. I really have showed you. If you really need me to, just watch one of my old videos. But that's issue 10, and the standard is still there. The storytelling, the artwork, everything just for me is spot on. This was interesting. Lobot, I don't know how you pronounce that. Lobot from Empire Strikes Back. The bloke with the thing round his head with the lights on. That apparently that's Imperial tech. I never knew any of this, but that's in that comic. It's Imperial tech. Maybe I might put that into I'll put that into my quick deep dive pile to show you, because that is worth a look. It was really interesting. Like the Max Rebo comic, it just shows you a little bit behind the scenes, kind of all the scenes we loved. It's just thrown into all that stuff. So really enjoyed it, and read this as well. I picked this issue 1 of this up. This is issue 7, thinking that I just flicked through it in the shop and thought that it wouldn't be up to much. It's just yet another Spider-Man spin-off, but it has been that these first 7 issues have been genuinely fun without being soppy, which is why, unfortunately, for the first time in a long, apart from my little gap I had, my break from comics, for different reasons, it's the first time I can remember not picking up Amazing Spider-Man. And I took a look at the wedding issue this week, in case anyone's wondering, and just flipped through it and thought, no, it's too much. No, it's done now. It's done. Come on, wedding issue. It's a bit like the Hellfire Gala stuff where they're all dressed up, the X-Men, and come on. I know you've got to appeal to all audiences, but why do that to the X-Men? And the same with Amazing Spider-Man. Why is J. Jonah Jameson so soppy now? Why are even the villains, even the latest storyline? I was really trying to eke out some love but everything about it is so soppy, as if it's as if it's written for under 8s. No, you can write a comic. You can write a family-friendly comic, like all those Star Wars ones. They've got to be. They've just got to be. but they're not childish. You get a Darth Vader, that is hardcore. But you don't see no gore and, whatever. They don't go there with Vader. But but they don't aim it at children. They don't make it childish. So anyway, I won't keep going on about Amazing Spider-Man, but I've dropped it. It's a shame because that should be their main number one flag. How DC hammer out the Batman, you could accuse them of doing too many books. Yeah, and when you look at the sales that I know a few other channels do, they give you the sales lists and that, and you see that if it hasn't got Batman in it, basically DC can't sell a comic. That's also a shame, but at least they are in things like the Deadly Duo that I reviewed on the main Batman book from Failsafe, well, from before Failsafe, but the main Batman book, and then the way they're doing Detective Comics as a more gothic, out of left field storylines. They are just those three books. Brave and the Bold anthology, which is the main stories of Batman. That's their main character. Why would they not be doing it? Why would they not put all their heavy hitters? And I know at Marvel, Zeb Wells may be considered a heavy hitter, but he's veered way off. I mean, how as publishers you can look at this Spider-Man storyline and how they're handling it as anything other than, Green Goblin's gone, he's his mate now. No, not for me. Sorry. As they say, I'm out. But we are going to, after the scroll, take a deep dive. Don't know where that last little bit of waffle come from. I do apologise for that. But you know what I'm like sometimes. But generally, it's all good. We're looking at the best stuff. So I've got my little whinge out of the way. Thanks. Just one other thing I wanted to get out of the way. I knew I'd forget it. That Paul got me. I just wanted it's too big to do a deep dive on. But look at this bad boy that Paul reserved for me. Michael Golden's Marvel stuff. I've only flicked through it, and it's got plenty of X-Men stuff. I might see if I can do a special on this if I can get the camera. I've got a table rip. I don't know if I want to get the camera up high enough to. I haven't got all the. I shouldn't say that, should I? Behind the scenes, I haven't got all the kit. Let's see what I can do. Let me know. I'll tell you what. Let me know in the comments if you want to see this. And I've got the Batman, the Batman Secrets one as well. Sam Keith. And what's the other one? Oh, the Apex edition of Kevin O'Neill, the 2080 artist, and the other 2080, Brian Bolland, who obviously surpassed. Kevin O'Neill was the artist on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But in the Apex edition, they showed the 2080 art that I remember. That was one of the first comics I ever bought back in the late 70s. So it obviously had, I've got a soft spot for him and all those 2080 artists that come along from that generation. Wow, that's a great waffle pre-scroll. Please join me after the scroll for deep dive on 5+ stacks. I've got to show you Lobo or Lobot. Lobot or Lobot? I don't know how you pronounce his name. Did they ever pronounce it in the film? I'm going to stop waffling. Join me after the scroll. Okay, here we go. Let's start off with Zatanna issue 2. Like I previously said, I think this is for me it's the best one. I think it's because the character suits the storyline. Obviously, you've got the night terrors of the whole. I like the Night and Dame title for the story. Again, this is great artwork. David Baldion, good story by Dennis Culver as well. These two coloured. Rain Barredo. I don't think I've given any of them a shout out, but so I'm going to rectify that now. I wasn't sure about his depiction of Zatanna at first. I don't know if I mentioned that when I've done the review of the first issue, whether she seemed too young or not. But I've got to say it's grown on me. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this book. It's not off-putting, and as you can see, this is all action-packed enough. I mean, this is old Robot Man, whatever you call him, from Doom Patrol. Forgive me, you can tell I'm not a big DC fan, can't you? And he must mention his name somewhere. This is beautiful stuff. And the colouring, to get this could just look like mud. If you're not going to gradiate, I think that's the word. If you're not going to gradiate the colouring on this kind of colour, because you're in this, they're in this maze in this issue, in this nightmare. Look at this stuff. This is glorious. I love it. And they've used this effect at the back, whether that was the artist or colourist or combination of both. Nevertheless, I think this is a great combination. I really do. And a great storyline. Loving it. This is her dad. I don't know. I did get some. I got some Manu Xanadu comics from way back. I can't remember her relationship with her dad, but they are obviously playing on it. That is her night terror, and they do it to really good effect. They really do, and obviously they've turned him from an ally to an enemy, and just again, love it. He's packing plenty in here, the writer and the artist. There was something. Oh yeah, here we go. He's back. I like how they write the character, and there, the chemistry between the two, for want of a better word, is really great. It's really well written, and it's not overly wordy. Great story, great art. I'll leave it there rather than, you can flick through the comic at the comic book shop, which I recommend you do, and I recommend that. A nice issue too, nice continuation of the storyline. Like I said, this one, guys, it did draw me in this cover. Beautiful artwork, absolutely stunning, and a really intriguing storyline inside. This is Dracula. It's obviously Vampirella, Dracula Rage. And I haven't read any Vampirella, not really. I may have some magazines buried away somewhere. I may have kind of delved into it, but there's nowhere near saying I'm a fan. And we're just dropped into this story of Dracula with this person and this backstory of a Preggers Vampirella, and horror ensues from there. Need I say any more? The art style isn't a go-to for me. If I was going to be really, really fussy, would I have matched this art style with Vampirella? No, but a very good artist. By the end of this first issue, I'd never heard this artist before. I'd never seen his style, but Christopher Priest on the writing, who was a writer of, I just checked his name, see how much of a fan I am. Christopher Priest, who had written Vampirella back in the day, so Paul informed me, because he's a big fan. And I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. There's enough mood, there's enough horror, there's enough moody bits, there's enough kind of classical horror elements to it, as well as keeping it in the I was just going to say, in the vein of Vampirella. And I'm going to stick with that. I might even put that on my thumbnail, guys. It's really in the vein of the Vampirella comics. Oh, I must learn to concentrate, mustn't I? Look, this is all great stuff. This is all the shtick that we want, isn't it, from a horror comic? So, like I say, I'll put that one away before I start laughing again. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy. Because this is continually growing. Oh, one quick break. What a nice tribute to John Romita that Marvel did. Full, like on the front covers, Marvel remembers John Romita with a classic issue 50 of Amazing Spider-Man cover. A really, really nice tribute, and we moan about them when they don't do stuff, but let's praise them when they do. And you know, it didn't have to be this much, but they did it. Look, two pages, and on the cover 4 pages of tribute. Yeah, full marks to Marvel for that. Well done, guys and girls, for that. And we're back to the stuff that I've praised before, the Kev Walker stuff. We've got each of our members all getting drunk in the bar. I love what they've done with Mantis as well in this issue. But these are the characters. I know they may not look like the ones from the cinema, but these are them. These I can hear their voices. I can hear the cinematic voices in my head as I read this comic, and there's nothing wrong with that because I thoroughly enjoyed the films. Maybe not the holiday special as much, and the third film. Yeah, let's just call it the first 2. But it's sci-fi. This is the bit. I think for me, this is the bit I love that resonates with me. It's science fiction, and that's why I'm reading the comic. You've thrown these characters in, but this is what you get. Bosh. Sci-fi. That's what we want. We want these characters we've come to know and love mixed up in space battle. And it's been building up to this, the 2 sides, that side and that side, from issue 1 of this new series. It's been building up to this, and this is what's going on, and this is Groot. Yes, indeed. Very, very enjoyable. They've done a couple of one-off issues. This is issue 5. I think it was issues 3 and 4, or 2 and 3, where they've kind of been standalone stories, but tie in. So they're just like old school. Love it. But they have been self-contained stories, beginning, middle, end. And yeah, you can see it started out as more of a Western, but you know, call it a space opera by the end of it, I suppose. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. And space operas lead me nicely. Oh, how good am I? How good am I this week? Space opera leads me to one of the most famous space operas of all, Star Wars. Max Rebo, remember him? These one shots of all these different characters are all set behind the scenes of all the famous scenes we have come to know and love. So he's in the band playing when everything's kicking off with Jabba the Hutt, and they're plotting. There's 2 of the band plotting to kill Jabba the Hutt. And here we go. Remember that film? But he's there. Max Rebo's in the background. But what you don't know is behind the scenes of this scene from the film is that there's 2 other people planning to kill Jabba the Hutt, and there is a brilliant panel in this. You know, it's just fun. This is a real fun read. So obviously it's the scene here from the film again. You know, with Han out of the carbonite. And I just want to get to that panel because obviously, you know, I've explained the plot. That is literally the plot. And it's Max Rebo getting, well, it just kind of a little bit of character development. Here he is on the barge now from Return of the Jedi. Here he is on the barge, and you know where it's all kicking off. And the two people that he's, you know, look, this is it. You know, these are the 2 that have been plotting to kill Jabba, and he's become all the rest of it. But there's no point, is there? There's no point in it, and because this happens, and I just love that silhouette. I just love it. I mean, yeah, you do have to be a Star Wars fan really to understand that, because in this story they don't give you any indication about Slave Leia or anything and what she does and using the chains to strangle him. So, but I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it because it was such a good punchline that you kind of know. You know, it's not like a reveal or a twist to the story. It just led up to it so nice. You think that maybe their mission to kill Jabba would fail anyway, but Not like, I didn't think they'd tie it in like that. It's over. Look, oh Max, that was a really enjoyable read. And these one shots that I've been reviewing, I don't know, they need to collect all them in a graphic novel for you guys that don't want to pick up these floppies all the time. I want to get, because I tell you what, it's one story after another, from the background of Star Wars. So I thoroughly recommend it. And this is my book of the week for a lot of reasons. One is it says a sensational cover, sensational title. I don't know why. I found that so intriguing, modern, simple. His name obviously drew me to it as well. But I've got to say, they could have had anyone's names up there. And as long as when I flipped inside that cover and that title is gonna intrigue me enough to open the page. Echo doing the pencils, and the cover, David Lorenzo doing inks and the cover colours. Again, all of these good. Let's give the shout out to the letterer as well, Sal Cipriano, because the letterer has to be this conversation in different colours. So all these 4, 5 people here really got to be in sync. Lovely colour in here. Just we're in her head like now. You know, that's a memory, and it almost looks like a sepia photo. I just little bits like that I really love. And this is a story, like I said, if you've read Ambassadors, this is a story, as far as we know from this first issue, our main protagonist has got superpowers, but she's not using them for good. She's got a family, she's got a husband, and she's got children. And she's basically been up to no good using her superpowers, not to do anything totally evil, but to do little jobs, little bank jobs, little thefts, to fund her family's lifestyle, which isn't extravagant. It's you know, that she's not doing massive jobs, but she decides to do a massive job, and it brings her the attention of the American government, and also the Council of Justice, which are this world's group of superheroes. And they are tasked, the Council of Justice are tasked to, stop our main character with extreme prejudice. Here's our scientist guy who develops a bomb. And I will leave it there. I will leave it there before I unravel too much, because how they've crafted this modern superhero story and made it modern without deconstructing the superhero genre. You know, in a way they've already kind of deconstructed it by making her not quite a hero, but she's a hero to her family. Maybe you've got enough clues to know where this is all going just from these pages. But J. Michael Straczynski, spot on. Welcome back. I don't know what the last comic he did. And Echo, all these guys, hats off to you. That is my book of the week, and it will make a stunning. AWA do some good stuff. I can't shout out about this company enough. I haven't got everything they've done, but more often than not, I do pick it up. And just quickly, before we do cover of the week, here we go. A little bit more Star Wars with Lobot. I'm going to decide to call him Lobot. And I didn't know that. Here he is. Do you remember him? From Empire Strikes Back, when he points his finger? You know, that scene where, you know, everyone lands on the Cloud City and he's with Lando. Well, I didn't know how best friends they were, but this is part of the Dark Droids storyline, which I did review last week, which is very good, and it's seeping into, it's obviously the main title. So you've got Lando, and it's affected Lobot. Did I say it was going to be Lobot from now on? I did, didn't I? It's a trap. I can't resist it. Anyway, because of this Imperial device around his head, see, I didn't know that. But, yeah, and I didn't know that Lando and Lobot went so far back. Look, Castel years ago, the setup, I didn't know. We find the origin of their friendship. Love it. the people, the guys and girls involved doing these Star Wars comics are really enjoying themselves, and I'm enjoying them enjoying themselves. You can see they've got eyes for detail, and they've got an eye for the fans. Love it. Love it. That's probably the image that I was trying to show everyone. Anyway, we've got to talk about cover of the week. It certainly isn't that. I've got to say that is a poor cover. So I'm going to get rid of that straight away. I've always got to get this In-Hook, apologies for mispronouncing his name, In-Hook Lee. His covers on Red Goblin have been, every time they've been out, they've been in the cover of the week. It's always, a cover like that is always going to attract some attention, isn't it? Reminds me of the old 90s image comics, whenever they produced a female superhero, it had to be buttocks first with a head turn, didn't it? It could never be face on. It always had to be buttocks first, bit of side boob. So that's always going to be in there. This is glorious art. I think it might be a bit too busy, but like I say every week, if you had a limited amount of pocket money, this is looking exciting. Batman in the middle of it all. What's going on with the monsters and the swords and the plant and the nightmare creatures, night terrors. Love it, love it, love it. I'll bring back the Madness cover. I was nearly going to start singing then. If anyone, no, comments please if you know what I was going to sing. I don't know why I'm throwing that in. I don't know why I'm throwing that in or why I find it so funny, but it is a very well painted and designed cover, which tells you the story actually. But will it make me buy the comic? I don't know whether it'd be attracting me enough. Good old Groot, Guardians of the Galaxy, and you've got Groot on the cover, but massive. Now that is intriguing, and that is a globe there of the world. Not that that's got anything to do with the story, but it would make me buy the comic, which is what this one did. Is make me buy the comic. And I know that the old adage is sex sells, and I'm going through all these covers, and I've said to you, oh look, little bit of balm and all that, but there's some classic covers there as well this week. But this Vampirella one, they could have gone more exploitative with this. They could have, done something. They could have made it more exploitative, basically, I think. And I just think it blows everything out of the water, this cover. This week, that's why I've removed. Normally, I have a little discussion with it was between these two. The nearest I can get in any discussion, to be fair, the nearest I'm going to get is that one, because there's just something intriguing about just the pure, simple design that joins up with the logo. I just love, and the fact it was just black, white, and red. I mean, you can't go wrong with those three colours. But come on, everyone, if that did back in the days, like I say, with the old spinners in the newsagents, if that wasn't going to sell the first issue of a vampire comic, I don't know what would. And there's enough teas, maybe not enough, maybe. The last might just be me being immature. Anyway, there's enough blood splatter on it. I don't know if that was an afterthought. I think that is a glorious cover, and that is 100% by a long way the cover of the week. And I hope you enjoyed my comic ramblings this week, everyone. And on that note, I will bid everyone adios.